Yes, people. Black Eyes TV in the house once again, representing with that real information for you. Today is another beautiful show, and this one's called In the Company of a UK Moor. Yeah, and I'm gonna be joined by my good friend Nico Day. Yeah, Mr. Riggs is not with us this week so far. He has to come. He's running late, so if he comes
Teddy Riggs.
it's all good.
Terence Riggs.
Yeah, me. But let's begin, people. Like, join the chat room. You know the routine. Share, like, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, you know what we do around here. But without further ado, let me introduce my guy Nico. Yes, brother, you there?
How are you, my brother? In the name of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, the principles of Ma'at. Greetings, Hotep, Assalamu alaikum, Islam. I just want to say, Richie, you've been calling it In the Company of a UK Moor. That's a little bit of a misnomer, really, because you can't really be a Moor and a UK Moor, because the UK is a corporation, but that's a whole other thing. But
educate us. That's what I'm saying. Speak to the people. I refer to you as a UK Moor only for the demographic of where you live.
I hear you.
Yes.
All right. So
because again, let me just add this: people are too used to, when they hear the word Moor, they always think of America. They always think USA. You know what I'm saying? It's exclusive to that continent. So it's good that you're clearing that one up as well. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's just of recent times. I mean, up until a few years back, if you would have said Moor, people would have either never heard of it or would have associated it with Berbers, Arabs, you know. But yeah, let's get into it. Let me give a couple of shout outs. Shout out to my brother, Noble Ma'at L, E-Man L, my brother Oscar, Darren Bay, Abraham, RG, some of the Mars, Viola, Amika, Jania, Rose. Shout out to Twilight Bay. I want to give a shout out to the Core family. Ali, twice great. Ma Queen of Fua. Yeah, the whole core team, man. And CC, People's Verses, Terry Mr. Riggs, Black Eyes TV 7, and my brother, Con Soup. Yeah. What's going on? I want to give a shout out to my brothers across the pond as well. Blue Pill, Red Pill, King Dolo. Who else? My brother Chi. Mura L. A couple more brothers over here. Optics, Fingers, Echo. I could go on. My brother Meech. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it, man. Super Blue Blood Moon special appearance, Nico Day, in the company of a Moor. What's up?
Well, listen, again, first and foremost, thank you for joining us. Again, people, it's not nothing strange. Mr. Riggsy's running late, so he may join us later. So you just got me presenting today, bring you that real info. Yeah,
Mr. Riggs.
That's all. You get me? But again, let's start off simple. What does being a Moor mean to you, and when did you begin that journey of identifying yourself as a Moor?
Okay, let me put it like this. What it means to be a Moor for me, first of all, when I found out, it was like a real eureka moment for me. It was like, that's got to be one of the most biggest thing in my life that gave me the most confidence. Just really on every level, on a social level, dealing with different people of different cultures. And it's really an aspect of study of self, because study of self is where you'll find, a lot of the remedies and the answers to today's problems. You know what I'm saying? Including finding God. You know, So yeah, it meant so much for me to acquire this knowledge. It was like the real missing jigsaw, the missing piece. It just put a lot of things into place. Also, that's why that lot hate us so much. Also, that's why this is like that and that is like this, because you know, discovering yourself as a Moor, as your ethnocentric identity, yeah, I mean, it means so much. It means so much. Uh, yeah, in just in everyday life, in every aspect, you know, you'll start to unravel a whole load of shit, because there's two things that's going on. Not only is you know, it isn't just something, finding something that's been deliberately hidden from you. It's also dispelling the myths or the idea or ideal that someone's going to call you something that is not even you, something that doesn't mean anything, that means that you haven't contributed anything to the world, that means that you're shit, basically. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's also dispelling a lie that someone created about you. You understand?
I'm feeling you. I'm feeling you. The misclassification is
Yeah.
always there. I hear you.
Yeah. So it isn't just, you know, hiding you from yourself, it's also calling you something that which you are not. And that doesn't have any significance, any contribution to anything, you know, and is actually dangerous, you know.
I hear you. Listen, I again, for the people, tell the people what you do, because again, for those who don't know, I know you're an artist, you're into many different things, but give the people a list of what you do in relation, again, as a backdrop to this Moorish conversation that we're having. What is it NICO Day does? You know,
Um,
that backdrop.
what I do, or what I have been doing, is really, I will split it into two categories, really. One is more ego driven or lower self driven, and the other side is more higher self driven. You know, I am an artist first, you know, and I think I put art into everything I do, whatever I do. If it's an event, a project, there's going to be an element of art in it. So I would say I am an artist, um, doing what I think most, if not all of us, are here to do, and that is to create, but also to study. So that's the other side where, um, yeah, I've spent a lot of time trying to find out the nature of my self existence, and then also out of that comes the purpose. And I think this is the purpose of life, to find your purpose, you know, and to learn, you know.
Oh, I hear that. I hear that. Now, again, with this Moorish paradigm and the word Moor, again, let's go back to that classification of that word, because
Sure.
again, some people believe, you know, it just refers to the color. You have groups of people that think it refers to the religious connotations, yeah, the Islamic connotations, as well as the color. Where are you sitting in that paradigm?
um I think the word more, or more, I mean, it would have significance, I think, to the whole world, because it's so significant to the whole world. But it's particularly significant to a a culture or group of people, which I'm in that category of, who do not know who they are in terms of identity. So more is really putting the crown back on, or putting the head back on the shoulders, if you like. Because what has happened up until discovering that you're more is that you've lost your head. Your head's been chopped off.
Mm, mm.
You know.
I hear that. I hear where you're coming from on that one. In relation, again, we've talked about, you know, the law side and all these other complicated down the track talks and conversations that you usually will hear again from the Moorish community or other Moors or people who are identifying themselves as Moors, having with Moors about laws and this and that. But again, today, as we've talked about and we've agreed, we want to go back to the beginning. So let's deal with the basic principles and tenets of what a Moorish person prescribing to this way of life, to this title, to this classification. What's the mindset? What are
I mean, the mindset is really the extension of truth. It's the extension of truth and what comes about with discovering a truth. Man, know thyself and to thy known self be true. Not just as an interest or a hobby, you know what I'm saying, but to be true to that thing, to walk in that thing that you have now discovered. Yeah. And the only real reason why it only seems to be Moors that's doing this obscure thing is because they belong to one of two groups of people on this planet who are dealing with the truth. And that is the people who are concealing the truth, you know, if you like, Masonic orders.
Right.
Yeah. And the awakening Moors. Those are the only two people that's really unearthing or dealing with or having that aspect of knowledge of that which is hidden from the world, which affects everybody. Everybody every day is dealing with law, but they don't know it. They're dealing with agreements, they're dealing with contracts. When they speak, when they are trying to do things, when they have demands put on them, everyday life, you're dealing with a contract. If you got a phone, you're dealing with a contract. Or rather, you're dealing with an agreement. You know, there's a difference between agreement and a contract.
I hear you. And again, when we've talked about these universal principles, because again, as Black people, culturally, we operate off of universal principles. Meaning you've talked before about comedic science and such and so on forth. Where does that fit in and explain those principles? Because again, we've had in-depth conversations before and built on this. Let's go into those realms. What are the laws that you use?
It's all connected. It's all connected. As above, so below. You know what I'm saying? You have, you know, loads of kind of principles and tenets of law. Like you have, you know, you have the 10 virtues, you have the 7 principles of hermetics, you know, you have the 9 aspects of, you know, you've got loads and loads of different laws, but it's all really trying to fall in line with the ultimate divine law. You know what I'm saying? Even the law that we're dealing with, even the ones that are man-made, at some point is trying to connect itself with a balance of divine law, or pretending to. You know, it's all based off of divine law. When you step into a courtroom, they're bringing you out the Bible or whatever you wish. The, you know, the Bhagavad Gita, Quran, you know. So it's all connected. Even within the study of law, you will come across biblical words. You know, so then it goes into you know, it's just one of everything, one aspect of everything that has been created by us. As when I say us, I mean melanated people. You know, but that has been hidden from us. How significant we have been to the contribution of the world's development. But so, you know, we were the writers of law. We were the writers of system, which we then brought into Europe. Even language, like you know, it's very hard for some European man, you know, who's going to stand in front of me, or not even a European man, but anybody who's representing that European system that's trying to conflict with me or whatever, for them to try and tell me, oh, this is how it works, or this is our policy. What are you talking about? We wrote the book. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me how it works. When I speak law.
Awesome.
Not just because I'm melanated.
Okay.
But because I'm, you know, it's one thing to be a Moor and to know and to discover that you're a Moor, but it's a whole other thing to be that thing, that which you are, that majestic thing, that regal thing, that sovereign thing. You know what I'm saying? Because that is who we are. We are rich. We are wealthy. Although we might not have it in the bank or in our pocket, we can create it from within our mind. You know, we was born on a land of milk and honey. Africa, the Americas, it's, you know, it's rich. So for us to think that we are poor, which we do, we come from a basis of thinking that we are poor, that is just an illusion.
Definitely.
So then we as awakening, aspiring Moors, like becoming, identifying ourselves with that which we truly are. Some of us will then want to begin to behave like Moors, like prestigious Moors, and be honorable. Not because we're scared of some mythical hellfire, but because we want to wear the Godhead.
A greater accountability.
Yeah, self-governance, man.
Listen, before I ask the next question, let me take a minute to big up the chat room. They're coming in now. Big up I Empress Segment, forever supporting. Salute to you, Queen. Big up to YouTube 9 Fire. Yeah. Big up to Melanin Rich. Yeah. Big up to Shame the Devil. Yeah. All regular supporters of the channel. Big up to our new viewer 0404. Yeah. Going in. Yeah. This is Black Eyes TV, bringing you in the company of a Moor, the ups and downs of London community law. Yeah. And we're talking with our brother NICO day to day. And all we're doing is covering the basics. We're not even trying to get too complicated. What it means for him to be a Moor, his epiphany moments. And right now, if you've just joined us, all we're doing is talking about universal principles, higher thought patterns when it comes to thinking on how to govern oneself. Yeah. And again, now, NICO, again, the other day we was talking about laws of synchronicity and yeah.
Well.
Yeah, let's
What do
go.
we have this evening? I mean, usually this evening on a night like this, I'll be quiet on my own, getting into myself, you know, creating some smoke, smudging the place, you know, bringing in, you know, making way for the new at this gateway, which we have a super blue moon, blood moon eclipse. So, you know, you mentioned synchronicity, you know, so that's another aspect we deal with greatly, and that is the great clock of the galaxies. You know what I'm saying? The great zodiacus. You know, the 12 different types of us. Astrologic. You know, that's another aspect that we deal with highly. You know, it's just like the watch on your wrist, but more intricate. You know, and it doesn't miss a beat. It doesn't miss a beat. You know.
Let me ask you, for the people them out there, are you a Muslim?
Am I a Muslim? You see, it really depends on what level of degree of the person who's asking me that question. You know what I'm saying? Because there's many interpretations of Muslim. You know, one interpretation that is that a Muslim is, you know, somewhere within the inception point of the embryo when the electricity meets the fetus or the flesh. You know what I'm saying? That's one interpretation of it, which falls in line with what Muslims usually say, that everyone is born a Muslim. Okay. Yeah, it's different interpretations because, see, now it gets a little bit complicated in that, you know, Moorish science or Moorish study or the identity of being a Moor it isn't a club, religion, or cult. You know, it isn't in that bag. You know, it isn't. It's really the whole. You know, it's levels and degrees of knowledge. You know, whether that's from the 4 schools of thought within that particular Islam, you know, Maliki, what have you, you know, the study of the Ahlul Bayt to the study of Taoism, Kung Fu, Qi Kong, you know what I'm saying? It's, you know, it's just knowledge. It's our knowledge that's been scattered around in various different subcultures or amalgamated Moorish cultures have kept those secrets and practices, and we ought to thank them for that, you know. And I think now it's time to say we got it from here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, this is the thing. Again, people like to ask, where is the culture coming from? Like, what is the historical premise or basis of that Moorish culture that so many profess to? And I think that's where, again, a lot of people fall back to the Muslim history.
You see,
so on that, brother.
You see, that's where it gets so. You've really got to kind of go all the way back to a state of thinking and knowing that there was a time when it was just us on this plane. You know what I'm saying? And we covered the 4 corners, the 7 seas. We were the seafarers. We were also autochthonous, attached to all the lands. So, you know, when we went from here to there to stop here and settle here, you know, it's very difficult to grasp. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you're asking me, to give you, you know, specific timelines and points. Which I mean,
just again, as we talked earlier, again, because when we're talking earlier, you said something interesting that, look, it's formed off of the same Kemetic science, those same principles. Now, again,
it is Kemetic science.
Well,
it is.
This is what I want the clarification on, because again, you have other Moors that are saying that it, you know, they're not actually forthcoming in saying what you just said there, which is Kemetic science. They somehow describe it sometimes as a separation or a subculture that is not connected. So speak on that from your perspective.
I mean, you'd be surprised to see how many, you know, different beliefs and schools of thought and religions have got bits and pieces, or, you know, extensions of Moorish Kemetic, you know, science. You know, it's all, you know, it's all connected and interconnected. You know, our footprints are everywhere. You can't go nowhere. You know, whatever ancient, beautiful culture or ritual or practice or art form you'll find, the more further you'll go, you're going to see an afro and some big lips and a flared nose, either on the wall or, you know what I'm saying? You can't get away from it.
That's true.
You can't. They ain't nothing new, brother. There's nothing new out there. Nothing. We already done it. We've already proved that. Yeah, we've been gods down here on earth.
What, as a Moor, what is your greatest inspirational point? Like, like, what do you draw? You know, people may say, yeah, when I look at the pyramids, when I look at those times, that's my inspirational point. As a Moor, from the time that you became a Moor, what are your points within that culture that you subscribe to and that line of thinking? What points do you go to inspire you, or, you know, replenish you, or get affirmations of spirit from as a Moor? Where do you go for that?
I mean, just unraveling everything, you know what I'm saying? Just turning everything back around 180 degrees to where it's supposed to be. It's just so much relief beyond what I can explain. Like, every situation, you know, any racist moment that anyone is going to have, you know, whether I choose to educate them on the spot or just, you know, either way, it just doesn't affect me the same as it's going to affect someone who doesn't really know, you know. And then it's just the fact that within that body of knowledge, it just seems like I have everything. I have everything that I need, you know. I don't have to, you know, even on the aspect of status and who I am, you know, it demands respect when I talk a certain way and use proper words in their proper meaning, you know, and comprehend them. It just gives me immense power and fortification to navigate myself through this crazy time that we're living in. You know, it isn't like, because that's another thing. I mean, you remember we was going to try and do this a while, you know, like a month back, because there's a whole eruption. There's a lot of dirty linen that's coming out that certain, you know, seekers don't really need to see or hear. And, you know, there's, you know, it's out. People are able to see that there is some divides within this Moorish movement, or the communities, if you like, you know, arguments about, you know, whether this paperwork has got any substance and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I can only talk from my experience and perspective, you know what I'm saying? And I can see that it's given me tools that I don't always need to use and draw upon, you know what I'm saying? But it just gives me more choices and concepts on how to defend myself in this very de facto system that we found ourselves in.
Listen, I got people in the chat room, and big up to the chat room again, and all those commenting. I've got a few people asking. One of the questions, big up to Shame the Devil. It sounds like the Moor thing is similar to Freemasonry and 5%er, and the 5%ers, should I say? What you know? What do you think on that one?
I don't know much about the 5%. You know, the 5%ers, Nation of Gods and Earths. You know, their studies or school of thought. I don't know much about that. There hasn't really been much of that out here. That knowledge, you know, when the waves of knowledge was coming over, like, we had Ansar Allah, but I know that it's very significant in early hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And from what I can only speak from the outside, but there are going to be similarities when people have got aspects of the truth. You know what I'm saying? There's definitely going to, and you know, it's within a very significant timeline of knowledge that's been coming out or trying to come out in the last 80 years. Brother, like, I don't think people realize how important this knowledge is, right? You know, like, people have died. People have been killed trying to bring this knowledge out. It's not a joke. You know, a lot of the authors that I subscribe to on my bookshelf, a lot of them are dead. You know, people have gone extraordinary lengths to hide us from ourselves.
Yeah. People are asking in the chat, yeah, do you subscribe to Noble Drew Ali? Or do you read the teachings of Noble Drew Ali?
Of course. No, I mean, Noble Drew Ali brought it out. You know, he unearthed it when it was, you know, from being hidden. He wasn't the only one. Benjamin Banneker before him, maybe 100 years, 150 years before him, tried to, you know, bring about the awareness of truth for us.
I hear that.
And then you've got people who try to conceal it, whether it was something that threatened their belief system, or they just couldn't, you know, that, you know, it's been that far hidden, or they've been scarred so much, you know, through the plights of slavery and bondage and all of that, you know, it just, you know, and beaten over the head with so much Christianity that, you know, there was just in denial about it, or, you know, what we call now cognitive dissonance. You know, I'm sure that was there very thick 90 years ago, 80 years ago, 70 years ago, 60 years ago. You know, there's been a whole movement, a whole bureau was created to keep us from ourselves. You know, and then you're going to have your red herons and your agent provocateurs mixed in there as well. And so, you know, people went through extraordinary lengths to conceal what is now being revealed. And so I don't even have to talk. I mean, we was talking about my eureka moment that I had 10 years ago. I actually thought that this is it. Like, wow, this is why it's been like this, and they've been lying and pretending. And, you know, I always felt every time I was in a courthouse that these guys were acting, man. I always felt that when I was younger. So, you know, 10 years ago, when I found out all of this, I really thought, this is it. All I have to do is let my people know this is what it is. Not that easy. You know, I found that out very quickly. No, it doesn't work like that. You know, generations and generations of, you know, brainwashing to make our people feel that they're poor and worthless and they don't contribute. To then try and put this, get them, you know, convince them about this, it doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you've seen, like, when we went out to New York, we all got close and got to know each other. You've seen how I'm very reserved about things, you know, because it's only, you know, it goes back to the ancient tenets, which is like, you know, only for those who have ears to hear. It isn't my job to convince anybody. I've already convinced myself. I ain't got no one else to convince. The burden of proof is on them or you, or, you know what I'm saying? that means I'll be working for you. Like, you know, research is time and money, and you know.
I hear you.
That's something that we all should be doing right now. No excuse. There's no excuse now. 10 years ago, you couldn't find nothing about Moors. Nothing. Only some hills and some Berbers. That's all you'll find on Google. Now it's a whole different thing. The knowledge is out there, man.
Why do you think it's more readily available now? What do you think the main cause of that is?
Information age of truth. You know what I'm saying? We're just at that place right now where it's going to come out anyway. You know what I'm saying? How many conspiracy books we used to read 20 years ago, more than half of those things are now truths now.
As a Moorish person, yeah, people are asking in the chat room, yeah, do the Moors have some sort of Bible or a certain book that they reference to more than others or more than not? Is there a book that you particularly prescribe to or you read more than not for your own affirmations, or is it just your surroundings?
I mean, I could name a bunch of books, but a lot of them I haven't even read. So, and you know, I'm look, the most important thing is it isn't about joining any club or, I mean, that's each to their own on how they're going to play this out. Like, one thing is the discovery that you're more. Now is to know that, okay, there's a war on, and we're still in captivity of this war. We're privileged, you know. So how one should move, everyone's going to move differently because everybody's got their own unique situation within this de facto system. You get what I'm saying? But I would say primarily, first and foremost, is to understand that, you know, the identity aspect, that you are a Moor, you know, and then what is a Moor? Who are the Moors? Who were the Moors? Because a lot of people put it to a time and a place, a point in history. Oh yeah, but the Moors died out. Yeah, the Moors died out, my brother, but when did Negro black in color begin? I'm sure it's probably a little bit after the word Moor died out.
Well, again, people are asking in the chat room about the origins of Moor. The word, is it African origin? You know,
where's Morocco?
And someone, just before you answer as well, someone was asking, do you claim lineage back to the Moors of Morocco and those times?
There's a Moroccan state or country, and there's also a Moroccan empire. Again, you're dealing with two different things. You're dealing with dates and times. You're dealing with a time, you know, in the Great Scramble for Africa where new lines was drawn up. Old lines was erased and new lines and divisions was drawn up. You know, a whole lot of things happen in that time. You know, but I mean, you can trace the word Moor, Mu, you know, and then, I mean, if you get into the etymon of it, then the vowels will begin to change. You know what I'm saying? Then you'll have me and ma, and you know what I'm saying? But it's all relative to that being us, dark melanated people. You know, going all the way down to the South Pacific. You had the Maoris, before them you had the Moorish. You know, so if you follow the word, you know, you will see that it's consistent with us. Hammurabi, or Hammurabi.
So you're not subscribing. When people say that Moor is like a title that was given as a descriptive term by someone else looking at us, you don't subscribe to that.
Not if the person who's saying that is calling himself black, no. Because it's a given that black was given to us. So whoever's saying that to me, what are they calling themselves? Show me the word. And then show me the treaty of that name that you're calling yourself. Show me what treaty you have with whatever nation. Show me a Negro treaty. Show me a Hotepi, you know what I'm saying? Man.
So for these reasons, documentation reasons, this is why you're subscribing to the title Moor, yeah? Is that this what you're saying, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not patronizing, but you know, some of these questions, it sounds like it's coming from somewhere of just not from someone who's studied it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, again, I think these are the connotations.
I'm not here to teach.
Well,
I'm not here to teach. I'm not here to teach.
This is the thing, Dick. Yeah.
I'm not here to teach. You know what I'm saying?
That people
I'll
have
point you to a direction.
Oh no, listen, this is the thing. People have a lot of misconceptions. And again, I'm looking at the chat room, you know.
Go study. This is a time of misconception. You know that. You know that you're being lied to. All right? Because they're asking questions, they are wondering. And it probably is making sense to them that black is not the one. Negro is not the one. Colored is not the one. It's just not the one. So I'm not your leader, I'm not your teacher. Go study. You've been lied to, you've been hidden from yourself, go study. Then we can have a conversation.
All right, let's go to this treaty. Yeah. I didn't
really.
There's
many treaties. There's many treaties.
Yeah. I didn't want to go there yet, but let me just ask you this question, just on your opinion again, without getting too deep. But again, one of the people, big up to YouTube 9, big up to Chris Woods, big up to Shane the Devil, big up to Mr. Maroon, man, all participating. But one of the questions, was you know, or a statement to a question. The white man's law and paperwork will not free us. The white man does not respect his own laws and treaties. How can we trust that system? And I know you've heard this question before. I know other Moors have heard this question before. When we're talking about white people, they're classic treaty breakers. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, without even getting into the lineage of, you know, who was around when the treaty was made and all of this kind of behavior, what do you say to that statement when people say, look, even if
it had no significance, it wouldn't be hidden. If it had no significance, it wouldn't be, then we'd all be called Moors, isn't it? All right. Now, this is what people don't really understand. Like, the way karma works and guilt works. If you don't feel guilty, you don't feel karma, it's not really affecting you to that, because all is mind. Do you understand? And so what if these people, as far as they were concerned, I'm not going to go too much into it, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not really the platform. You know, it's not really the platform. Like I say, you know, this is not a joke, man. A lot of people have died. It's about going to study yourself. There's only so much I'm going to say. You know what I'm saying? There's only so much I'm going to say. But the bottom line is this. You got to understand, some of these people think that they're not doing anything. In fact, they are falling, as far as they're concerned, they're falling in line with law. You know, and they're accepting their polarity within that law. You know, it's like Star Wars. You have the dark side, and you know, and there is some kind of a degree or level of respect. You know what I'm saying? Within that. And there's another little known thing that as long as someone is telling you what they're doing while they're doing it, and you have a choice, they're not really doing anything wrong.
But that's the thinking of the white man, yeah, you're saying.
They're not really, I mean,
that while he's telling us on the news and showing us these things, whatever fucked up things he's doing to us.
Yeah. First of all, I don't really like to say black or white. I don't really deal with black and white because it ain't even like that no more. It ain't like that no more.
How do you identify white people?
How do I
as the people, the ruling class at this present moment, how do you identify them?
They're the ruling elite, but if you want to go back to who they are, they're Jesuits, the Germanic Jesuits.
When you see a white person on the road, how do you refer to them?
Caucasian.
Okay.
How an educated European man would address himself? Caucasian or Albion. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. The melanated man has got the hardest time dealing with this whole concept. Educated European people get it in a second. Whether they knew before or not, but they get it.
Why do you think that is?
Because there's a lot of emotional ties with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, the truth is bitter sometimes. It's bitter. It hurts your stomach, man. It hurts, you know? It hurts your stomach. You know, because it isn't just about knowing who we are. It is about, okay, now I know who I am. I'm going to begin to know what my purpose is on this plane. And it is to wear the Godhead. And to act accordingly. And to get yourself right. And to concentrate on your higher self. If you're more focused on money than you are about self-wealth, and you know what I'm saying? Like, not what you got in the bank, but what you can give, what you can offer, what value you have. That's wealth. That is wealth. You know what I'm saying? Focusing on the higher, what the higher chakras represent. Love, spiritual connection, preparation for leaving here. So you don't have to come back to this hell. This is hell.
That I definitely agree with. 100%.
That's what it's about.
So
yeah, it sounds crazy, doesn't it? It sounds crazy. Like,
it sounds real. I think that's what people need to understand. That again, me and my friend have talked about it many times. There, you know, you can build up this picture of hell and all this in your head, but hell is here, where anyone can say anything, anyone can do anything, and you ride it.
The only reason why it's beginning not to sound crazy is because the alternative that looked good is beginning to look crazy now. And we're going crazy, and you know, people, man, woman, we're going crazy with it. This is fallen humanity, and this is the awakening. And those who, you know, there are those that are going to stand up. Their nature, they was built for it. They recognize their purpose.
Hey, yo. Listen. Let me shout out the chat room again. Big up to everybody that's tuning in so far. Hope you're enjoying the conversation. This is a conversation with my brother, NICO Day, in the company of a Moor. Let's leave out the UK, although my brother is from the UK.
Scotia. We're in Scotia. That's where we are right now.
No doubt.
I'm in the middle of Londinium. Right in the smack in the middle.
I hear you. Listen, people, you see in the chat room the GoFundMe link for our trip to the USA for the Sarnetta TV Awards. Again, go and support it, please. $1, £1. Go and use the link. Click on it. Yeah, get us over there. to the Apollo Theatre live, see that, create the sites, get those images, take a crowd of us over there. Yeah, 20, 30 deep. That's what we're looking. So again, people, you see the link in the chat room, support it. Again, I want to big up the chat room.
I want to big up, I want to give a super blue blood moon shout out to my brother Sarnetta, man. Yeah, much love for holding me down when we was out there, representing and all that.
That's all. For anyone who doesn't realize as well, my brother NICO came with Black Eyes TV and some others who we're all in the core. That's our group. Queen Afua's son, Ali. Queen Afua invited us out there. We went out there for Sunday's Unity Conference. So again, if anybody's interested in seeing our brother NICO, have a conversation with Tahaka Bay, another Moor from the USA at the time. Go to the Black Eyes TV archives. You can check that out and you'll see my brother having a nice little chat with Tahaka Bay.
Shout out to Tahaka Bay, Islam.
Also, go to that Black Eyes TV archives and check it out. So let's get back into this conversation, brother. Yeah, let's go back to the positives, yeah, and the affirmations. When you're encouraging someone, because I know you do classes about law and enlightenment, knowing thyself better. Yeah, where do you begin? What's your curriculum look like when you're just trying to encourage, when you're trying to bring people into this knowledge of self and understanding their position in this modern day society, as well as throughout time and space? Where do you begin? What works best for you as a starting point when you're showing someone what's good?
Well, I mean, it can't really begin without dealing with history and word etymology. You know what I'm saying? So we look at words, we look at history, and then religion is going to come into it, or schools of thought is going to come into it. Mind you, we try and, first of all, it isn't just melanated people that have been through my class. Like I say, we're here to, help in any small way we can to lift all of fallen humanity. So I try to start off with that, and then I guess I just try to make them unlock the answer within themselves, because we all know, but we just forgot.
I'm feeling you.
So
go on.
Yeah, I would just have block sessions, you know what I'm saying, like a 6-week session on this particular aspect, on that specific, but we go around the world with it, you know what I'm saying. We get into Taoism, various schools of thought, and a lot of meditation. We deal with the 9 aspects of self, we work on light work, understanding the 9 aspects of the self, from the cat all the way to the aku. That's the cat, the car.
Well, what was that? What was that? The 9 aspects of self.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, break that down. What 9 aspects of self for the people then? Go in, brother.
Well, the first aspect is the physical aspects, which we all know well. That's the cat, which I believe they got the word CAT scan from. And then you have the car, which is probably the closest esoterical body of ourselves that we can actually kind of faintly recognize. And that's where I believe you get the word character and charisma from. So that's your character. That's an aspect of yourself. And that's something that you ought to guard. Because people can steal your car energy. just within the balance of things, just simply, if you're always someone who's always taking and not giving, you know, aspects of your car will be taken away from you. But the car grows with your connection with people. That's why a lot of famous people, they have presence and big charisma because their car is big, because they're recognized and adored by many. You know, and then you go into the shoe or shadow, which kind of relates to your ego. That's a darker side of you. And then you got your ren, which is your resonance. Then you have your ab, which is your heart. You know, that in itself is a body, you know. And then you have your bar, which is your soul, which is connected to prana, breath, and then so on, and you know, and then your higher bodies, you know, your second, which is your life force power, which is related to your solar plex, I would guess, I believe. And then you have your light form and your aku, which is the closest to the divine force. And then so those 9 aspects of self, you can get intricate with those and divide them into, you know, more intricate aspects. So the self is vast, my brother.
Okay. In terms of Noble Drew Ali, as a Moor, what do you feel his most inspiring part is of his life or his teachings? What part, if I had to ask you to direct me to a part that, you know, speaks a lot? Is there anything in particular that stands out in your mind?
I would just really say what he did and how he did it. Like, his story is remarkable. I'm surprised it's not a film already. You know what I'm saying? You know, at such a young age, you know, just I couldn't imagine what he was up against at that time. You know what I'm saying? To be able to motivate and move and create a movement and, you know, have it so far that it's recognized in the world stage, and it actually, you know, changed things or had a ripple effect. Great ripple effects. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and just the knowledge and foresight that he had, you know, and the way he wore that Godhead, you know, majestically to do the God work, you know, which I suppose wasn't quite fulfilled, you know, as his life was cut short.
Okay. When it comes to the Moorish teachings, how do I phrase this? I want to say, what's the end goal? But
I mean, as the beautiful late brother C. Freeman Earl would say, you know, self-identity, self-knowledge, and self-revelation. I believe in that order. You know what I'm saying? So first, the discovery of who you are, and then, you know, the discipline of studying once you know, to thy own self be true. You know, and then the revelation of that and what it brings. You know, I'm not saying individually that means you're going to save the world with that knowledge, but you're you're just at the right place at the right time, receiving the right information to continue on, to make the arc, as it were, to make it to the arc, to be one of the chosen ones that basically was obedient to eating the right food, breathing right, meditation, prayer, sound meditation, all of these wonderful ancient practices we have to remedy ourselves, particularly now. You know what I mean?
I'm hearing you, brother. Let's talk about some of the things that you do now, because again, for people that don't know, you put on events, you have run classes which you're looking to start again. Let's talk about some of that, brother.
I mean, yeah. I mean, at the moment, I'm just I'm grounding myself, because I've been through quite a lot myself, particularly last year. I was homeless for a while. Obviously, you had that horrendous massacre that happened in my neighborhood last year. I lost my brother as well. Rest in peace, Tony. So I mean, right now I'm not doing anything. I'm dealing with a few ailments that I have, which is really reflective of, sometimes where you have ailments is something a lot deeper. There's probably a chakra connected to that that's blocked. So I'm just I guess my light has been dimmed, and I'm just re-energizing myself, I guess. But yeah, I'm sure I'll be up to something pretty soon. I started something a while back called Hip Hop Honors UK. But because of a certain situation with an affiliate that we had, it kind of took me back. I'm going to talk about it, the whole Bambata thing. I haven't actually spoke about it on social media or anything, actually. I don't really touch on that whole pedophilia thing. I didn't even say anything with the whole Savile thing. And I guess it's because government officials tried to abduct me when I was young, and I had to fight my way out of that at the age of about 5 or 6. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing Hip Hop Honors UK again. I'm not saying Bambata's guilty, you know what I'm saying, because he hasn't really, it hasn't got to that. But I would say this, any true Moor, and I believe he was calling himself a Moor, any true Moor would want to face their accuser. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I went off on a dirt track day, but yeah, I'm going to be doing some events at some point. But right now, I'm just rejuvenating. Yeah.
Before you even move on, yeah, give a backdrop to that, because again, you've been doing hip hop for a lot of years, yeah, especially like as someone from the UK, as an artist, as well as going over to America and dealing with those artists over there. So just let the people know what your band was back in the day. So obviously there's a drop, a context to what you're saying, because again, for those who don't know, NICO's long in the tooth in the hip hop game. He's been doing this for a long time. But yeah, speak on that, NICO, please.
Okay, so I did 20 years in the music game, 10 years performing, 10 years producing. I was a third of a 3-member group called Cash Crew, who won I would say mid-school, probably first school for a lot of people in the UK, but really mid-school, because the area where I grew up, Ladbroke Grove, had earlier pioneers, a generation before me, kind of thing. So yeah, did a couple of albums under Cash Crew, kind of gangster stroke social commentary. Crew of Many First was possibly the first rap band to, you know, deal with, world eco issues, you know, green issue, green grass, you know, dealing with social issues, you know what I'm saying? You know, dealing with racism, that kind of thing. We was the first group to put out an Islamically sounding track where you have a category called Islamic rap. So, you know, he was part of that. One of the members, one of the Cash Crew members, went on to be sort of like the first Islamic rap band, Mecca to Medina. Shout out to Rakim. Assalamu alaikum. So yeah, did performing for 10 years, then producing for 10 years under Slice of Life and 12-Bit Funk Production. Produce artists in Europe as well as America. And then I guess at some point I was kind of near, I don't know, probably the top 5 producers in Europe, something like that, or, you know, just like, and then just things happened. The game began to change. I didn't like where it was heading. I didn't want to get involved with certain people I was having meetings with at that time. So I guess I reached a moment where I just kind of wanted out, you know what I mean? Wanted out of the music game. And then that was around that time, you know, everything was changing, you know, music wasn't selling anymore. There was a lot of producers willing to do certain things for free. And just the fabric of the game. I didn't really, because I stopped rapping for that particular reason of the climate changing around the mid-90s, you know what I'm saying? So I continued making music, but then I didn't want to make music with certain people putting trash on my music. Dealing with certain, you know, certain bullshit. So then I wanted to do some community work, engage with the youth. Because around that time, the youth was going through something and it was media fueled. So I wanted to engage with the youth. So I got into teaching and working with kids and then working with intrafamilial situations, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and then just study Moorish paradigm. I want to enlighten my people, classes, and what have you.
Okay. Listen, again, big up to the chat room, big up to Melanie Rich, big up to Sci-Fi joining us. Yeah, big up to YouTube Night. Yeah, all loving the show. Big up to Science. Yeah, Shame the Devil. Everybody that's been supporting the show so far. This has been in the company of the UK Moor. Yeah, with our brother NICO Day. Just really conversating about what it means to be a Moor for him, inspirational points, how he looks at society, some of the key affirmations and places he goes to replenish himself, and things that he thinks are important for the community to know about the Moorish paradigm and about themselves. Because again, as my brother said, this is about knowledge of self first and foremost, as pretty much all black cultures or spiritual systems relate to.
No doubt.
You gotta know yourself.
If there's ever a time to, you know, cut down on the raving or whatever other recreation you're doing other than getting out the books and studying, you know, watching documentaries. There's some great teachers up on YouTube. There's some great teachers on Facebook. You know, it just depends on what friends you have, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But if you begin to walk this walk your friend list will start to refine itself. You know what I'm saying? Like the more you speak out, the more you will relate to people that's on your frequency and that can share other important knowledge with you. You know what I'm saying? It's a great time for knowledge. You ain't really got to look that far. You just got to stick your head out the window, man. You know what I mean?
Most definitely. Most definitely. I hear you. Listen, people. This is the first of many shows with our brother NICO, I hope. He'll be joining us again. We'll be going in a little bit deeper, maybe dealing with some of these treaty talks, maybe bringing on some other guests to bounce off of. But again, people, go back into the Black Eyes TV archives. You can see our brother NICO Day doing an interview with us when we went to stateside to Sarnetta Unity Awards, where he's talking with Tahaka Bay. So please go back, go and check that out. You'll see my brother or hear a little break from one of his tunes. Again, yeah, that's what I was going to say to you, NICO. The project that you was doing for Grenfell Fire.
Oh yeah.
Did you release that? Is that video out, or are
it's on? I mean, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, let the people know what the tune is called, because again, for people that don't know, as NICO said already or stated, he's from Labatt Grove area, Shepherd's Bush sides, all those, that particular area is where the Grenfell Tower fire, for our American viewers who don't know, it was a massive tower block fire that happened, killing a whole heap of people. And affecting the community, and it threw a dark cloud over the whole city, really. It was a madness, and again, our brother NICO was directly affected as a resident. His mother's around there, he's got friends and family that grew up around there, so through that he used his artistry, wrote a tune, made a video. So yeah, brother, tell us the title of the tune so people can go and check that out, like it. I'll go and like it as well again, so it comes back up on the channel, so people can check that out. But yeah, what's the title of that, brother?
Yeah, so the title is View from the Hill, Grenfell Tribute by NICO Day. And probably, quite a few other videos will come out. Try and check them all out because they're all from different demographics. You know what I'm saying? People from the community expressing how we feel through art, and yeah, I'm sure there's going to be many more. I didn't really want to get into the Grenfell situation on this show, but perhaps on another one,
definitely
we can get into that. Yeah,
no, definitely we'll chop that one up, and as you said, on another show with a few guests, maybe perhaps we'll enter into that dialogue. But again, I want to thank you today for coming on.
Thank you for having me, my brother.
Yeah, with the people, with Black Eyes TV 7. Again, my brother NICO, he's part of the core. Hopefully you'll be seeing him sooner rather than later doing some other projects with Black Eyes TV 7.
No doubt.
DC and Ant from the People Versus, Queen
Shout
of
out to People Versus.
Russell, Ali the Great. In fact, let me let you in. You will see the People Versus, which is a combination of our sister Cece and brother Ant, who again you can see on the Black Eyes TV channel doing a few interviews. They also have their own channel on YouTube, People Versus. Go and check it out. But hopefully we'll have them on presenting, doing a show on the subject of their choice sooner rather than later. Tomorrow, fingers crossed, hopefully people, we will have Shaka Most on the show, so look out for that one. That should be live, and that will kick off a segment of shows called the Black Love Revolution. So yeah, look out for that. Hopefully that will be going down, so look out for the flyers going up on Facebook and whatnot. Again, like, share, subscribe the videos, support your black media. Shout out to Sarnet TV, Black Magic, HMP TV, content over everything, Titans TV. The list goes on and on and on, but support them all. Big up to 9th Dynasty or 6th Dynasty, I believe it's called. Yeah, I've been watching you of lately over in stateside. checking out a couple of your videos and that. But yeah, support the narrative, because if we're not telling our story, no one else will. And again, let me leave you with this as well from the words of my brother NICO. You need to go and study in it. This
That time.
well and good watching these platforms and again supporting our black media, but the point of it is to spark the synapses, get you moving into action, into research, into knowing yourself and bettering yourself. So never forget that is
No, that's the only way.
that's it.
More love to everybody worldwide. To everybody worldwide. More love. Yeah, and I hope that significant endings happen with this great chapter with the eclipse and some beautiful new beginnings. I wish to all of you. More love.
That's it. That's it. Support Black Eyes TV 7.
Black Eyes TV 7.
If you have anything to say, yeah, just let me know on blackeyestv7@gmail.com. Send us any suggestions on shows, anything you want to see. Look out for Black Eyes stores busting off this week, looking very big with the likes of Queen Afua, Red Pill, Brother Jabari, Shaka Mos, Captain Tazaria, RBG brands, Abajaware, Arm & Ra Squad. We're going to have them all in one digital space, bringing you their products as far as books, DVDs, fashion, health. Yeah, so we're going to be covering the scope for our community here and across the world. Yeah, where you can go, you can get your products, you can get your information. And again, it all kicks back to Black Eyes TV 7. You see the symbol, people. This has been in the company of a UK Moor. Yeah. Big up to my brother again. Big up to myself, Black Eyes TV 7. Richie talking to you, handling you tonight. Shout out to Mr. Riggs, wherever the hell he is. Yeah. Big up, big up, big up. Peace, people. Look out for us tomorrow on Shaka Mos. Remember that shit. Peace.
Peace.